Sup everyone, Callum from Motion Table Soccer here. Welcome back to the channel. We are doing an impromptu tutorial today about brush loading and paint loading, which was inspired based off a question that I got from one of you guys on Twitter. Now I am back in the Westwood.ts green t-shirt today. We've got Madrid white and Falkirk navy behind me. These are available, guys, for £18 delivered to the UK. They're 100% cotton, super comfy. Feature the logo of the channel. Be awesome if you guys can get one. If you want to get one, you can visit the website westwoodtablesoccer.uk and order it through there. Without further ado then, this one is, as I said, a paint loading tutorial. So how much paint do you put on a brush to do certain things? The question was sort of sparked by working out whether they've got too much, too little on the brush. Now, for this video, we are going to be painting this. This is a kit I haven't painted before. It's a kit I've looked at and never done, so it's going to be a learning experience for you and for me as well. But yeah, let's just get on with it. Okay, so in this video we're going to be painting a sample Lee kit from 2017-18. It's got a few cool little details on it and a couple of little intricate pieces to show you. Plus I had this two-tone brown base that I wanted to use. So we'll start off by adding some red accent pieces. And we will do a little, it's got like a little band around the middle of the sock. So you can sort of see it there. Paint's quite thin. You've got to be somewhere you guys can see it. And then it's just about applying equal pressure so that my bristles spread out the same width to create an even line. And then about pulling the paint around, so you can see sort of what we've got left on there. There's still some paint in the brush, but not a massive amount. We spread most of it around. A little trick you can actually do is use the base as to like a runner to run the brush across when you've got yourself in the right place. They will keep you in a nice straight even line. So in terms of brush loading, they're not really details, but they are smaller pieces. Hopefully you can see that on the video. For a basic sock hoop area, that's all we need there. For this kit, they've also got a red band around the bottom of the short, so we're going to do that now. Same process as before. We don't want it too big, so we could build this up with more than one stroke because it's going to have a dark colour around it, but that's kind of where we are brush loading. So there you have him there with his ring around the bottom of his shorts. He's also got some red on his cuff line, and that again is exactly the same process. So we'll just blast through that a little bit off camera and then we'll jump back before we add in the bigger red area on the shirt. So you can see there, we've just added the red cuff line in here. Now this red area in the middle of this shirt is like, it's like they've painted it. That's got the design to sort of look like, so it's quite a rough edge, which is fine by me. I will be framing the outside of the area on the shirt. I'm doing this upside down, so it's really hard. So it's like a red area that comes across here, and it's got white around the outside of it, and the rest of the shirt, obviously in the kit, is brown. But it kind of has sort of staggery effects in here. So what I'll do is I'll paint it, and it'll hopefully be a little bit clearer for you guys to understand. in there. And then to fill that space in, I can put more paint on my brush. So I will flatten it down a little bit, and then it's loaded up with a lot more paint to fill in the gaps. Obviously you still got to be really careful, you don't want to go over your frame lines that you've made. Our basic red done. Now it's deliberately messy. This kit is a messy kit, and I chose it because it's going to look really effective when it's done. But that is the basic red area done. What I need to do now is go through the brown. Cool, so this has predominantly brown socks, brown shorts, and then mostly a brown kit, but this area around the red is staying white. And again, it's a rough edge, so it's going to be quite good, and it's going to give a really nice effect. What I need to do here is leave white areas either side of my red band here. So the best way I find to do that is to have a fairly flat brush. I've had to mix my brown. You could use 160 brown for this, but I haven't got any at the moment, so I've had to use 98 and put a little bit of white in it because 98 is too dark. There you can see the white area we've left around the outside of the red, and we created that by leaving space and using a straight flat brush rather than the pointed one. So there you can see then we've finished these sock areas. They're fairly small, so we kept the brush fairly small. We've got to fill in the shorts now and then frame out the rest of the shirt. Now for the shorts, we can go quite big and a lot of paint on here. You don't have to, it's entirely your decision. You can keep it small still. Cool, so there you can see him, that big paint area in there. And then in terms of how the brush looked, it was quite thick, quite wide, quite a heavy load of paint because I knew I was spreading it around. And what I'm going to do now is just make this a bit smaller so that we can go around that top and bottom section, so we leave the white space in between. Got my basic brown frame in there. All I need to do now is fill in the gaps around the outside, and that's pretty much the kit done. Just had to take extra care sort of around here and under his arms, and obviously to make this straight line here, because what we don't want to do is encroach onto our red or get a smudge underneath his arm. So just be a little bit careful around there. Brush load wise and shape wise, you can see it there, what we've got. It's quite flat and don't want to overload it, but again, as we said before, don't want to have not enough either. Massive space on the back, so you can pretty much put as much paint as you want on here as you want. What I would tend to do, just dot it into the middle and then go back around to where I am on the outside. So that there is pretty much this guy finished. Now what we need to do is just add a few white paint drips onto him, and then he is good to go. So what we've done there, just off camera as a little follow-up to a point I made in the previous video, is this is matte green 36. You can see how vibrant that is there on his boots. It's a really, really bright colour. It's still wet, so it won't be shiny when it's finished. But I just thought I'd show you, it was a perfect opportunity to show you that green. I love it. It's a really useful colour to have for boots and things. But yeah, so we just got to do a little bit of white work now around here. Cool. So just off camera, I've been playing about adding a few of the detail, the little paint drip details in there. Now the issue I'm having is the acrylic paint is a brighter white than the remaining white space in between, so I am going to need to paint them in white. In terms of creating the paint drip effect that you can kind of see down here, hardly any paint on the brush, really, really thin point on the end, and then because it's a paint drip effect, it's not a massive issue as to how it goes. If it looks exactly like it does in the shirt, you just want it to look like it's dripping down. So that's where we are. I'm just going to fill these areas in acrylic white, and then I will show you on camera the last few paint drips which have been coming down in here. So as you can see, I filled in the white space here that we had before with white paint. Now originally I wasn't planning to do that, but as soon as I started adding the paint drips down here, it became obvious that it didn't look like it was running out of there. So we added the white paint in here, and I've just got to add in some paint drips coming down on this side of the shirt. Brush loading, hardly anything on the brush, do not need a lot. And there we go, that's them added in onto the shirt. Just zoom it in. There it is a lot closer. You can see the paint drips that we've added to the kit. You can see the white spaces, you can see the roughness of the lines that we wanted to have. All we've got to do now is put the little sample-y badge up here. The end of that little bit of painting. I didn't show you me putting the badge on because it's really difficult to do with the camera that close. When the camera is right on top of me, it makes painting really, really difficult. So unfortunately I couldn't show you guys that. But again, in terms of paint loading, it's not a lot, hardly anything. You don't need a lot. I've been joined by my little friend here. Here he is, all complete. You'll see him in a minute, but I'll try and show you guys very, very quickly how he turned out. There he is, just in there. That's not clear, so apologies about that. I'll put up a still image of him. There he is. So you can see in comparison to what he looks like with the shirt. Hopefully that's helped some of you guys out in terms of paint loading. A lot of it is when you're trying to do your frame lines, don't worry if the paint is a little bit washy to start with. As long as you get that first line there, once you've got something there to trace up to, it's really easy to follow it down with more paint and then get that colour that you want. The issues that people can have is when they put too much paint on. I wouldn't necessarily worry about not having enough, because you can always go back for more. But if you put too much paint on and then you apply too much pressure to that brush, what tends to happen is the paint spreads out, and that's when you can end up with a straight line that you want bulging out a little bit. And there are areas on the kits, like I've said before, there are areas on the shirts which will cause that little change, especially in the Santiago. As you look at them, bottom right, there's a real dip in the shirt, and also on the backs. The backs of the Santiago players have got a real, it really dips in right in the middle of their spine, and that can be a real pain when painting stuff. If you're looking to do complicated kits, or kits that you might want to put shirt numbers onto the back of, I would advise filling that back hole in, so smoothing it off completely with some modelling or sculpting clay. I use Milliput whenever I do it. I haven't done it on this one. I don't do it on most of my work because the backs of the shirts are never seen. But if I do have something that requires the back of the shirt to be nice and neat or even, that is what I do. So that's it then, guys. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a fairly long one, but it was quite a difficult thing to try and show you and explain, so I had to make a video. If you've got this far and you enjoyed it, please smash that like button. I really appreciate it. At the end of this video, as always now, there's going to be a little bit. You can just click the button to subscribe, or if you fancy it, minimize the video and you can click subscribe underneath. There is also going to be some links to some other little videos that you guys might find interesting at the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Until the next time, stay safe.